I was vexed after Man United, bro. Fuming. This is what we do. Mentality this. Arteta that. Odegaard this. Gyökeres that. Jesus this. I was in that same mode, bro. I was in that same mode. 2 days later, I've got to look at it like I need to actually focus on what we actually need to do because we still have to win the league, bro. Like, that's the facts. Like, I don't, regardless of what's going on, I still need the club to win the league. Like,
can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question,
yeah,
So, I think there's adjustments that need to be made. I think we'll all agree on that. What do you think needs to change? Do you think there's any personnel within the squad, i.e. taking Odegaard out, maybe playing Ezie or et cetera, or do you think it is just like a tactical thing? Like, what do you think we need to get over the line?
Well, I do feel like Odegaard at the minute, he is the clear underperformer, captain coming off at 50 odd minutes. I think that's obvious that right now he's the obvious choice to kind of come out the team when need be. But like in terms of actual personnel, I said it before. And when you talk about mentality, I don't just say the word mentality for no reason. I'm not like that. I say the word mentality and I say it with a real meaning. When I say mentality, I'm talking about killing your rivals. I'm talking about when you've got a chance to buy Semenyo and to stop him going to Man City, you do that. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you. But you got to remember, most of these big teams like Leeds, teams like Sheffield Wednesday, teams like Wimbledon. I was talking about this with my cousin. These teams were in the Premier League for years. They never thought they were going to have a drought. We've had a 20-year drought. When we were winning Premier Leagues and FA Cups when I was younger, I was 17 the last time we won one. I never thought that we was going to go a 20-year drought. I didn't even think like that. You can quickly spiral into a drought without realizing. These owners need to understand that Arsenal, you've got an opportunity here to win a league title for the first time in 20 years. Now, if you don't win it now, they did it last year when we were competing for the Champions League and they did not invest in January. Every time you have a transfer window, you should improve your squad every single time. There's a reason why the transfer window opens. You should improve your squad every single time. It's not open for no reason. There's never a moment you can't improve your squad. It doesn't exist.
I disagree with you on that, D, because we've had like 200 odd million in the summer. Like a lot of us were sitting here saying we're happy with this squad, and we should be happy with this squad because we have a squad that's full of quality. The problem that I'm seeing at the moment is that the quality is not being used. I.e., for example, right, we brought in Madueke. He's barely kicked ball. Right, not saying that I rate him or anything because I don't. I didn't want him at Arsenal, but the point is he's barely kicked ball. Eze's barely kicked ball. You know, Gyökeres has probably been the most consistent one, and then the two and Zubimendi obviously in the two defenders. Zubimendi's been relied on heavily. The defenders have had to be relied on because we've had injuries in that area. But aside from that, they probably wouldn't have played much football. But from the attacking areas, we've gone back to, you know, playing the originals again.
It's not just about it's not just you're saying it like that. We feel that our team's good enough to win the league. It is good enough to win the league, but that's not the only thing you do. You also need to buy players to stop other teams getting certain players. Like I say, like Semenyo, where we need a winger, and he's gone.
But we did. We bought Eze.
I know
but he's not being used.
But the January window's not open for no reason. Why is it open then?
No, I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
I don't care that our squad is good enough to win the league. Make it better. It's open for a reason. There's a reason why. It's like saying to somebody, "Oh, you've got money. You don't want more money." Why do I care?
But then also from the owner's perspective, right? He's been given a lot of money. He's been given a lot of players in the summer, but he's not using them. So why are you then going to go and give him more players that he's probably not going to use?
That's a different point. The point you're making is about whether or not you think Arteta is using the players correctly. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you can improve the squad. If Arteta is your manager and you're the owner, you've got enough money. You can say to him, listen, here's another 100 mil. You've got 100 mil in the winter transfer window. Simple as that. You've got enough money. You can say that to him.
Yeah, who's saying that they haven't said that to him and he's just gone, look, I'm happy with my squad?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying when I say mentality, I'm saying it as if to say if Arteta decided he doesn't feel like he needs to improve the squad, then it's on him. That's his decision as a grown man. I'm saying it as I feel like every opportunity you can to improve the squad, you do it. Whether it's winter, summer, you improve the squad every single time. That's what it's there for. It's not.
Let me chime in quickly. Are we having an impressive season? Panel, chat.
Of course. So far.
Of course we are.
Yeah, we're having an impressive season. We've put ourselves where we are. And, I heard the discussion, I heard the argument earlier. Not everyone else is having a good season. But nonetheless, we've put ourselves exactly where we are. Whether it be the Champions League, the Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, these boys have put us there. Whether or not you agree Eze should get more minutes, whether you agree Gyökeres should be up front or Jesus, no matter what, everyone has played their part into where we are so far. I, like most Arsenal fans, was very disappointed with the results on Sunday. Very, very. Not even just because it was another chance to maintain our distance in the table, but the fact it was United, and that's my own personal sort of interest. But overall, boys, we're 4 points clear at the top of the table, and I know the argument will be here. We've been here before.
Yeah, it doesn't mean a thing unless we win it, though, Strict, though. This is the thing.
But unfortunately, we haven't lost it and we haven't won it yet. In either case, everyone that we've signed has played a part. Everyone. Now, the discussion about bringing more players, I'm not against bringing in more players. Personally, I don't think at this point we need it. And I think it's just a lot of knee-jerk reaction from Sunday's game. Because we played Bournemouth, which is a tricky place to go to, as we know. And we swept them off the park with these same players. So I don't know whether or not it's an overreaction. And listen, come next week, we could get back our 7 points. Just before Christmas, I think we was 2 points clear. And I can't remember who it was on this channel that was saying, but we was 6 points clear, but now we've only 2. And then within a week or so, we were 6 points clear, 7 points. Now it's back to 4. These players, the manager, they know what this is about now. They know it's about performing, and not even performing, but it's about doing what needs to be done at any cost. Now, everyone's saying we faltered under pressure, and I don't think we faltered under pressure. I think when I actually look at it, I think it's quite the opposite. I think we've been playing way too relaxed. Take the Zubimendi pass, for instance. That isn't a pass born out of pressure. That's a pass born out of just being relaxed. Take Saliba not getting too close to Fernandes in the box. Too relaxed. Pressure doesn't allow you to be relaxed. Pressure has you on the edge of your nerves. We're way too relaxed. And I think that's what I would say probably the issue is. I know there's a bit of mentality there, but I've also heard the players announce clearly that they know they're in a title race. I've heard Saliba talk about how he's hating the fact every time he looks in his pocket, there's nothing in his pocket. These players have clearly announced their intentions. Now, that isn't a team that is faltering and doesn't want this. They want this. They're saying that they want it. Yes, it's one bad game. I couldn't care less if the
saying it and proving it on the pitch, though, Strict, though, is two different things.
But saying it is even harder because you're actually inviting that pressure on yourself. You're actually saying, "Bring me the pressure. I want to handle it." You know, we've had for years when players are asked questions, "Oh, are you in a title race?" And no one actually says it. But now you're hearing, I've heard Saka say it. I've heard Saliba say it. I've heard Big Gabby say it. I've heard even fucking Eze and Madueke say it. So
but hang on. Let's just be real about this. They're not going to sit there now and say, top 4. They know what's expected of them.
No.
After 6 years of being in the same thing, they know what's expected of them. So they're not going to sit. They're not going to go, top 4.
Hold on a second. Even when it was top 4, they didn't even announce it. I would just, we're trying to get to the top of, what they never announced it. I'm hearing them announce it. You got Google it, search it. They've announced it. Multiple interviews. Oh, the title race, the title race, the title race. When Madueke was asked that question when he was at Chelsea, are you in a title race? What did he say? You telling me that there's less expectation at Chelsea than there is at Arsenal? He said title race. I don't know what that is. He said that. But they know you're the Arsenal now, yeah, where we are right now. There's a massive expectation. And I'm sorry I heard your conversation about Eze earlier. There is no room for passengers. I've looked at what Eze's done at
So
Arsenal.
hang on. So what's Odegaard then?
Against
so what's
Tottenham,
Odegaard then if he's not a passenger?
Which is absolutely brilliant, yeah. But every time I watch this guy play, I don't see nothing that convinces me on why he should start over Odegaard. Clear and obvious. There's nothing. It's not clear and obvious. It's not clear and obvious. But
again, though, strict though, give him a run of. This is what annoys me, right? If you give him a run of 3, 4, 5 games, I know this ain't the time now. Yeah, the time for experiments is been gone. We're in the business end of the season, so I get that, and I get that Odegaard is going to start because he's Arteta's man. I get that, right? And business end of the season. The disappointment for me is that the experimental, side that we could have done earlier on in the season has been and gone now. And when that experiment was happening, Eze was performing. Eze scored a hat-trick against Spurs. He won us the game against Crystal Palace. He was coming up with assists. He was part of the reason why we scored that third goal against Inter Milan, So it's not like he's done nothing. He just hasn't had the time that Odegaard has been given, right? Odegaard's been here for a long time. Eze's got to adapt. But the point that I'm making is Odegaard, no matter whether he performs good, bad, or whatever, he's straight in that team the following week. Now, I get it. He's the captain, right? I get it. But there comes a point where you have to look at a player and say, you're a liability at the moment, and we can't afford passengers. Like you just said, we can't afford passengers in the business end of the season. Odegaard is a passenger right now for Arsenal. He's a passenger.
Odegaard, and listen, he's the captain. And I've seen him improve over these last few games. Take away the United game. Let's not lie. Odegaard has improved these last few games.
Which games?
Well, you want to talk about Bournemouth? Talk about Villa? He's improved. He's on his way to improving. He's on the right step. So let's not undervalue what he's been doing. Let's not. And I'm not even trying to even undervalue what Eze is doing. However, what I'm saying is, in real time, when I watch Eze, I think he had a stinker against Inter Milan. I think he had a stinker against Palace in the League Cup. He's had a lot of opportunities. Now, you take for instance now, Marino, for instance, yeah? Marino's played 967 minutes this season. 967 minutes. No time to adapt, straight to it. Comes on when we need him to play in that role, in that central striker role. He comes on 8 times out of 10, usually does a decent job. So I'm not trying to hear like, oh, he needs a run of games. What Semenyo's coming straight away?
Hang on. Strict though. We didn't sign Marino in the summer. Marino's had a whole season to adapt to Arsenal. Eze hasn't had that. Eze has not had that.
What Semenyo had at City?
Yeah, but again, City are playing to Semenyo's strengths because Semenyo is an out-and-out winger who likes to cut inside and shoot. City are allowing him to do exactly what he did at Bournemouth. Eze at Palace compared to Eze at Arsenal now is not the same Eze because Eze at Palace would pick. Hang on, Eze at Palace would pick up the ball and drive at players, right?
Eze at Palace, Eze at Arsenal. Sorry, Brendan. Eze at Arsenal and Eze at Palace. 2 different expectations. You can do all of that at Crystal Palace.
100%. I totally agree with you. But the point that I'm making is
there's a reason why he can't start at Arsenal.
Totally. I totally agree with you. There are 2 bigger, different expectations. However, what Eze was really good at Palace, picking up the ball and driving at players. We don't like that type of... Arteta don't like that type of player because he doesn't want to risk losing the ball. So Eze is now having to adapt his game to suit the way that we play. which is not how he's used to playing. So he's got a lot more adaptation to do in this side than what a Mikel Merino has, because he's more that sort of type of player than what any other player has really got. But he's got to be given that time, and he's got to be given a run of games to prove that. You know, you give him 5 games, and if he's still shit, fair enough. You know, put him back on the bench, put Odegaard back in the team. That's fine.
All right, lads. I want to bring Kenny in. He's been waiting here patiently for for about 40 minutes. Kenny, where are you on this? Oh, we've been chatting about Arsenal United. Obviously, came in after about 10 minutes. Where's your head at now in terms of this team? You positive, worried, and then I want to ask you about the Odegaard Ezie thing as well, because I'm kind of at a point now where Odegaard hasn't been good recently. Physically, doesn't look at it. I think Eze's probably got more end product, which we need right now. Our attackers haven't been scoring goals. Yeah, where are you generally at with this Arsenal team right now?
Look, this Arsenal team, for me, is running empty. The tank's emptying. There's players who come back from injury and they're taking too much time, too long to get back to full fitness, and it's affecting their games. The defenders, Saliba and Gabriel, don't look right. In terms of the fitness, it's like we're in May, coming to the end of a grueling season, and we're in January. You've got 15 games left. Plus, we got, we know we're going to have hopefully a long Champions League campaign. Then we got the FA Cup. Then we've got a second leg against Chelsea. We look knackered, look absolutely knackered. Against Man United, they look fresher. Obviously they're playing 1 game a week. In midfield, they're absolutely the bosses, especially after the first goal. I can't understand that after we went 1-0 up, we thought the game was over. The football was just a waste of time. It was slow, ponderous. It's like all the joy was sucked out of the way we play, which is a trait of Mikel and Pep. They shut the joy out of everything. The team got no creativity, no flair, no panache. It's like they're instructed to just be more organised, keep men behind the ball. And that's where do have issues. But in terms of like where we're at, look, if we don't beat Leeds and Man City and Villa win, then we are going to be under pressure. The fact is we haven't been playing well since Fulham away. The last game we actually played okay and was Villa. But that for me, I think that result and that performance was a myth, because we went back to our bad old ways. The Liverpool game wasn't great. It wasn't good. They won. They were better than us in every department. Physically, they're better than us. On the ball, they're better than us, and they were more organised. We seem to struggle against teams who play like that. Not the Forest as well, 17 on the table, but they had their little shape. They were quite good on the ball when they had possession, and physically, we couldn't cope with it. So what we're seeing is that we're seeing great performance in the Champions League, where the common denominator is we're not playing teams that get at us, who are physically going to test us over 90 minutes. I mean, going up and down, where in the Champions League, it's slow build up and then quick in the last third. And that suits us down to the ground. We love that because we're able to dominate teams physically. But in terms of like Odegaard, I've had enough now. I think it's time to take him out of the team. He hasn't been playing well at all. He hasn't been playing well. He's only been playing well in spurts and bits. Like, second half against Aston Villa. Bournemouth first half, bits of the first half, bits of the second half. But in the last few games, he's running out of empty. He's running out of ideas. He's doing all the things that he was doing last season, coming too deep to take the ball, clogging up the midfield when he should be close to Saka. He doesn't even affect games. I mean, your captain being substituted because he's not effective. We're carrying him. We're carrying Martin Odegaard, but he's not the only one. We're carrying Bukayo Saka. Where's everyone? Why is everyone just silent on Bukayo Saka? Why is it a crime not to question Saka and doubt whether he's world class? He's been terrible. We carried him as well, but no one wants to talk about it. And then the forwards, it's like a pick and mix of who's worse. Jesus isn't fully fit. He was terrible. But Gyökeres, thank God the referee put the flag up. But that last bit of play,
what was he doing?
What was that? I thought it was like like the giant. I thought it was like the Goliath out there with that tub. You know what I mean?
What he's got to do is a tiny little touch, just a little square touch. and Saka
that's
taps
the
it
thing.
in.
That's the thing. At the moment, we're where we are in spite of in Europe, we're excellent. We deserve to be there. In terms of the league, we're crawling over the line.